We've also been talking about what's been going on. Of course, Fox Business Hurricane HQ.
Yeah, flooding, we just highlighted the potential here for the Carolinas. It's a major problem with hurricanes. And really getting the proper insurance, that's vital. So our next guest knows all about flood insurance, how to prepare you and your family before a storm hits.
All right, let's bring in John Dickson, who is the CEO and president of AI on Edge and Insurmark. He joins us to talk about flood insurance and pre-storm preparations. It is so important because sometimes these storms develop quickly. A lot of people are new to the area, and it's always a good refresher for those who live there. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Britta.
Good morning. John, let's start off with just how flood insurance works, because so many people think that they have coverage and they don't.
Great point. And the truth is, for going on 50 years, a traditional homeowner's policy generally does not cover the peril of flood. So when you think about inundation of 2 or more acres or 2 or more land lots, your homeowner's policy will not provide coverage for that exposure. That is done traditionally through a standalone flood insurance policy that protects you against the peril of flood.
Now, John, those insurance policies, should we have those in place by now? Do you have a 30-day window where you've got to get those before they actually kick in?
So there can be a waiting period, Craig.
Okay.
The waiting period could be as much as 30 days. It could be as low as a week.
Okay.
If you're buying the cover to support the closing of a loan, if you're just moving into your dream house, flood insurance can have no waiting period.
Great.
But the important point here is you have to think about your flood preparations when the sun is shining, not when the water's approaching your doorstep.
Yeah.
Now, when I had flood insurance, and I lived in Texas at the time, it was your traditional policy. It took 30 days to really kick into high gear. What are the options for folks?
Great question. Today, the options are many. Again, rewinding the clock 30, 40 years ago, there was only a single place to go for flood insurance, and that was the federal government. Today, there is a robust supply of capital willing to write flood insurance on private paper. And so you have new options. You have flood insurance that can provide excess coverage if you have a more involved house, you have more expensive belongings. You can buy flood insurance that will help you pay for your additional living expenses if you're displaced from your home for a period of time from flood. You can buy flood insurance that can provide different loss settlement provisions to help you recover faster. So today, the great news is there are many more options available to our neighbors, our homeowners, and our loved ones.
So you're talking about options that can kind of be tacked on. So you can have your FEMA policy, which is more traditional, and then also buy private insurance that kind of gives you a little more, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. You can buy a private policy to sit on top of or alongside of your FEMA policy. You can also buy private flood insurance instead of a FEMA policy. There are private primary policies that can serve the same purpose that a FEMA policy can serve.
A question for you. Does this also include sometimes mold? Is mold included with some of these? I know sometimes you get the flooding. Does the flooding cover that later on?
Your policy can cover it. And that's, Craig, a great point. Whenever you're thinking about flood insurance protections for your family, taking measures to make sure that when your need arises that you're covered, have the conversations now. That's a perfect conversation to have with your insurance professional. Explain your needs, better equip that professional to fill those needs with available solutions today.
Yeah, and I always tell people, ask every question you can think of to your insurance provider, because there's no question that they can't answer, and there's a lot of questions that can be left unasked that can really get yourself into trouble. I didn't have mold coverage, and it ended up being quite expensive. So it's really good to make sure that you have everything covered. Thank you so much for joining us today. That is John Dickson. We appreciate your time here on Fox Weather this morning.
Thank you.